Hawkman is the name used by a number of men throughout the history of the DC universe. Hawkman was either the modern reincarnation of ancient Egyptian Prince Khufu or Thanagarian police officer KTAR. In any incarnation, he can be a man with a temper, to say the least, and this has occasionally led Hawkman to do some less than heroic things. With that in mind, I'm Adam from What Culture, and here are 10 worst things Hawkman has ever done. Number 10. The brutality of his literally medieval weapons. Hawkman tends to favour the archaic weapons of the past. This includes spears, shields, and nets. But the two weapons that the Winged Wonder tends to favour over all others are the mace and the flail. The mace is the weapon that is most commonly associated with Hawkman and the one that he uses the most. As an archaeologist and the curator of the St. Roch Museum, he has access to maces from a variety of eras. A mace is a large metal ball that may or may not have rounded knobs on it that is attached to a long wooden or metal handle. It doesn't have spikes. That is a different weapon called a Morning Star, which is spiked all around with a long spike at the top. The flail is a spiked ball attached to a handle by a rope or chain. The problem with these weapons is that they are inherently deadly, and there is no way for Hawkman to use them in a non-lethal way. It is one thing if Carter were to hit Solomon Grundy with this mace, but what about the average bank robber? Considering the fact that Hall is many times stronger than a normal man and flies at speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour, it's simple physics that a mace hit would shatter every bone in an average person's body. Number 9. Voting yes on mind-wiping Batman. Sue Dibney, the wife of Ralph Dibney, the famous elongated man, was spending an evening on the Justice League satellite looking at the stars. The villainous Dr. Arthur Light used his powers to break into the League's headquarters to retrieve an old weapon. Finding Sue there alone, he attacked her, blinded her, and sexually assaulted her. The team returned and stopped Light, with Ralph knocking him out with Hawkman's mace. Ralph teleported Sue to the hospital, and Zatanna wiped the assault from Light's mind so that he couldn't brag about it. Hawkman suggested that Z do more, and Carter said that Dr. Light was a dangerous psychopath with far too much power who needed more than just another jail sentence. The team voted and was split 3-4 and 3 against. Flash was the deciding vote, and Zatanna turned Light from a brilliant psychopath into a simpleton. In the midst of the procedure, Batman teleported onto the satellite and immediately moved to stop his teammates. Zatanna froze him in place, and again the team voted on what to do. They voted to remove the last 10 minutes from Batman's memories. For Bruce, his mind is the most important tool in his fight against crime. He has spent years honing it, training it, and shaping it into something akin to a superpower. When he discovered that his friends had tampered with his mind, there couldn't have been a greater violation. Number 8. His ongoing arguments with Green Arrow. Justice League teammates Green Arrow and Hawkman have been verbally and sometimes physically sparring with each other for decades, with Oliver portrayed as the prototypical radical member of the left and Carter as the conservative, pro-establishment advocate for the right. The shift began when writer Len Wein took over writing duties on the Justice League of America with issue number 100. Wein was tired of the Hail Fellows Well Met routine that made the heroes boring and without distinct personalities. It began with Arrow making derogatory nicknames like Birdbeak and Ostrich Orbs for Hawkman, and Carter questioning Oliver's eyesight, the worst insult you can make to an archer, or the quality of his weapons when the Shaggy Man attacked. Politics aside, there could have been many reasons why Green Arrow and Hawkman never got along. Oliver had long felt that the League dealt with its problems with too much force, and Carter was force personified. This feeling led the Emerald Archer to quit the League in issue number 181, although he did return with Hawkman to free the founding members from mind control in issue number 200. More recent opinions have suggested the rift was over the decision to alter Batman's mind after the Dr. Light incident. Number 7. Denied their children admittance into the Justice Society. The entire Justice Society, save for an ailing Sandman and a busy Superman, were having an emergency meeting on Christmas when 4 young heroes burst through the door, offering to become members. After a brief struggle where the kids held their own, they were revealed to be the Silver Scarab, aka Hector Hall, son of Hawkman, Hippolyta Trevor, aka Fury, daughter of Wonder Woman, Albert Rothstein, aka Nuklon, godson of the Atom, and Northwind, real name Norda, godson to Hawkman and Hawkwoman. Hawkwoman. The Justice Society agreed to deliberate and consider whether or not to allow these young heroes into the team. The vote was a tie, 7-4 and 7 against, and as chairman, it fell to Hawkman to be the deciding vote. He voted that the kids were too inexperienced and needed to learn more before they could be accepted. Just as they were processing the news, Jeannie Lynn Hayden and Todd Rice, Jade and Obsidian respectively, the children of Alan Scott, the original Green Lantern, arrived. The 6 young heroes decided to leave together to discuss their fate, and Power Girl and Huntress chose to follow. Eventually, the Star-Spangled Kid left the JSA to join the others as well, and they became Infinity Inc. They operated out of Sylvester Pemberton's Stellar Studio in Los Angeles. Number 6. Battled Superman several times. Although they are fellow Justice League members and friends, Hawkman and Superman have come to blows on several occasions. Even though Carter is many times stronger than a normal man, it should be a pretty one-sided fight. But the Winged Wonder has not only held his own, but gotten the upper hand over the Man of Steel. In Justice League of America number 200, a long dormant post-hypnotic suggestion was triggered in the minds of the original members of the League that thwarted the Appalachian invasion. The 7 original heroes were compelled to gather the broken meteors that brought the Appalachians to Earth to begin their restoration. Hawkman was chosen to oppose Superman. He easily dispatched 2 Superman robots with his nets, crossbow, and mace, but was no match for Superman himself. In Superman/Batman number 4, President Lex Luthor declared that Superman was out of control due to an approaching kryptonite meteor. This was a lie, but both an army of supervillains after the outrageous bounty and Luthor's own selected group of superheroes failed to capture the Man of Steel and Batman. Mr. Terrific asked Hawkman and Captain Marvel to take up the task. Hawkman used his weapon, the Claw of Horus, which controlled magnetic feeds. As Carter put it as he hit Superman in the face, "I just hit you with the planet." To his credit, Hawkman briefly knocked Superman out. Number 5. Stalking Kendra Saunders. Kendra Saunders was the grandniece of the Golden Age Hawkgirl Shira Saunders Hall. She was a troubled young woman who tragically committed suicide. When her soul left her body, the soul of Shira entered it, but still believed herself to be Kendra, remembering none of her past. A longtime friend of the Hawks, Kendra's grandfather noticed the change in his granddaughter and encouraged her to become the new Hawkgirl. Kendra joined the Justice Society of America and was instrumental in Hawkman's latest return. Carter believed that Kendra was Shira and was shocked to realize that she did not remember her former life. He began pushing her hard to remember, and this created a rift between them for a time. Carter returned to Thanagar during the Ran-Thanagar War, and this gave Kendra time to sort out her feelings. Hawkgirl joined the newest incarnation of the Justice League of America and began a relationship with Red Arrow. Her past memories, their inability to express their feelings for each other, and Hawkman's return destroyed that relationship. After the Hawks were transformed into White Lanterns during the Blackest Night event, that erased all aspects of Kendra and left Shira Hall fully resurrected, with all of her memories intact. Number 4. Sentencing the innocent Jim Craddock to hang. Hannibal Hawks was the reincarnation of Prince Khufu in the 19th century Western United States. Hawks worked as a fix-it man and had the secret identity as the masked gunfighter Nighthawk. He met and fell in love with the red-headed gunfighter Cinnamon, who was the reincarnation of Princess Chiara. Gentleman Jim Craddock was a notorious highwayman in the later days of Victorian England, before making his way to America to apply his criminal ways. He eventually ran afoul of Nighthawk and Cinnamon. Hawks had Craddock hanged after wrongfully assuming he sexually assaulted the female gunfighter. Caught up in the mystic curse that binds the two lovers, the criminal returned as an actual ghost, doomed to never rest until his executioner's soul entered the afterlife. The gentleman ghost would have a long wait. And he did wait for more than half a century before revealing himself again by staging a crime spree throughout major capitals of Europe. It was during this time that he encountered the newest incarnation of his executioners, Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Although he is especially susceptible to nth metal and they thwarted his plans frequently, they have never been able to capture the ectoplasmic evildoer. Number 3. KTAR Deathbringer. As with many characters in the New 52, Hawkman's past was completely abandoned for something completely new. In this iteration, he began life as KTAR Deathbringer, general of the Deathbringers of Quagar. The Deathbringers were a group of aliens who slaughtered millions throughout the galaxy in the distant past, and who worshipped a powerful interdimensional alien named the Lord Beyond the Void. With so much blood on his hands and his guilt and self-loathing rising, KTAR began to have visions of a beautiful angelic woman named Shara. One final sacrifice was required to bring the Lord of the Void into the positive universe, but KTAR could do no more. He turned against his own army and his lord and thwarted the final sacrifice with his life. Standing before the presence, he said that KTAR would have to live as many lives as he took to atone for his sins. He would also have to prepare for the return of the Deathbringers. In his latest incarnation, archaeologist Carter Hall discovered the mysterious nth metal and used it to become Hawkman with his beloved paramour Shira Saunders as Hawkgirl. The pair became members of the Justice Society of America. His skill as an archaeologist and knowledge of the nth metal led him to conduct an expedition to the Dark Multiverse, where he was captured and briefly transformed into the Dragon of the World Forge. Number 2. Spied on Earth for Thanagar. Fel Andar was a Thanagarian sleeper agent who had been living on Earth for years. He was called to active duty to learn all he could about the planet's offensive capabilities as Carter Hall Jr., a previously unknown son of the Golden Age Hawkman from the Justice Society of America. This fact was impossible to corroborate because the Hawks and the rest of the society were trapped in limbo at the time, fighting the demon Surtur to stall the ancient Norse end of the world called Ragnarok. At the same time, Thanagar was conspiring with various other alien races to plan an invasion of the Earth. Andar took a human wife named Sharon Parker, and they had a child named Cha'al, or Charlie Parker, on Earth. Fel brainwashed his wife into believing that she was Sharon Hall, aka Hawkwoman. The pair joined the Justice League International for a brief period, and their son became the occasional Team Titan West member, the Golden Eagle. Sharon discovered Fel's true identity and revealed it to the Martian Manhunter. Andar murdered her and fled to Thanagar. There, he was sentenced to life in prison for his failure. Having renounced his past and now a man of peace, he tried to reconcile with his son during the Iran-Thanagar War, but was killed by the Temerian warrior Blackfire. Number 1. Discovered the nth metal ship in ancient Egypt. There is an ancient saying that curiosity killed the cat, but it doesn't mention hawks. Still, it was the curiosity of Prince Khufu KTAR that started him and his love, Princess Shiara, on the nearly endless cycle of reincarnation. Khufu lived during the time of Ramses II in the 19th century of ancient Egypt. The noble prince's friends and advisors were the wizard Nabu and Teth Adam, the champion of the wizard Shazam. The trio discovered a crashed Thanagarian spaceship in the Egyptian desert and studied it. The substance that powered the ship, called nth metal by its dying alien pilot, possessed the obvious qualities to negate gravity. The sample from the ship was melted and used to create 3 powerful items: a scarab that allowed Khufu to fly, a large knife, and a battle glove called the Claw of Horus. It also imparted knowledge of the planet Thanagar on Khufu and Chiara. Their jealous and treacherous priest Hathset, who wanted Chiara for himself, murdered the prince and princess with the nth metal knife. Due to the properties of the nth metal and possibly some interference from Nabu, the trio became trapped in a cycle of reincarnation, rebirth, and murder. Khufu and Chiara are reborn and fall in love in a new era, and are eventually killed by the reborn Hathset. And as always, please do let us know what you think of our list in the comments section. What is your favourite Hawkman or Hawkgirl moment? If you want to follow me on socials, I am at Strawn87 on Twitter and on Instagram. Come and say hello to me on there. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time, take care.